All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Homewood-Flossmoor Vikings baseball broadcast. I'm Dylan Barnes. I'm going to be calling this game and all others throughout the season, both home and away. And for the third game in a row, the Vikings are on the road in Louisville, Kentucky. And for the third game in a row, they'll play a top team in not only the state of Kentucky, but the entire Midwest as well. The Vikings are going to be playing not the St. Xavier Tigers. They played the St. Xavier Tigers the two games before. They'll be playing the Trinity Shamrocks. The Shamrocks are 11-1 on the year. Their only loss came last night due to a play at the plate that was a very close play, but it ended a 3-2 game in the bottom of the seventh inning. The Vikings are on a 3-game skid, 2 at the hands of St. Xavier, and then 1 back home in Chicago at the hands of Marist. So the Vikings are going to have their work cut out for them today if they want to get back in the win column. As on the bump for the Shamrocks is the Louisville commit Jacob Schweitzer. His battery mate behind the dish is Jack Neal. Around him in the infield is Dane Morrow at third, Colin Sander at short, Brooks Hagedorn at second, and Evan Beckman at first. Behind them in the outfield, Ethan Dillon is the left fielder, Kyle Campbell is the center fielder, and Cam Warfield is in right. The lineup for the Vikings today, it's similar to what it was against St. Xavier. It's Dylan Head, Rob Tate, Jason Ballard, and Preston Lund. Those 4 have been keyholed as the first 4 in this Vikings lineup for many games. Behind them is Corey Mulling, the second baseman, Demir Heidelberg, Josh Moore, Nico Bilgi, and making his first start for the Vikings is Bennett Reich in left field. So this game is going to get underway very soon.
For the Vikings, the center fielder, number 1, Dylan Head.
Leading things off for the Vikings here in this top of the first inning, it's going to be the center fielder, Dylan Head. Head went 3 for 5 with 2 runs scored yesterday in the Vikings' 12-9 loss against St. Xavier. He watches the first pitch, a fastball from Schweitzer, off the plate for ball 1. Head also swiped 2 bags yesterday, his first 2 of the season. He watches another fastball off the plate, ball 2. So 2 pretty identical pitches to start off this at-bat to Head. We saw St. Xavier pitch him away yesterday. Trinity appears to be doing more of the same, as he sends one down the left field line, foul. So 3 fastballs to Dylan Head, has Schweitzer with a 2-1 count on him. That one, yet again, popped down the third baseline, foul. Head has not struck out on the year so far, but now that I've said that, it's jinxed him, and he's doomed to strike out looking right here. 2-2 pitch from Schweitzer. Off the plate yet again, bringing the count to a full 3-2. So Head trying to work his way on to start this game for the Vikings, as he has in many games prior. And he does. A full count walk to the leadoff man, Dylan Head, sends the shortstop, Rob Tate, to the dish with 1 runner on and nobody out.
Now batting, the shortstop, number 2, Robert Tate.
Tate's batting .406 on the year, so a good sign for the Vikings as they can potentially have runners in scoring position for the 3-hole hitter, Jason Ballard, who went 3 for 4 yesterday. Pickoff attempt, Head back in there safely. We saw St. Xavier do that many times yesterday. I believe his pickoff counter was up to 6 or 7 in his 3 trips on base. That's one of probably many today for Schweitzer. Tate tips it back into Neal's glove for strike 1. Tate went 1 for 4 with a walk and 2 runs scored in yesterday's contest against St. Xavier. Another pickoff attempt. Head in there safely. So if Head gets on base 3 times like he did yesterday, he's currently on track to beat his record of 5 pickoff attempts in a game, as we've seen 2 already in only 1 pitch, as Tate fouls that one back, 0-2. So Schweitzer way up on the count on the shortstop Tate, as another pickoff attempt, the third in 2 pitches for Dylan Head. He's once again safe at first. Schweitzer comes set. 0-2 pitch to Tate. Fouled back again. Tate staying alive, keeping the count at 0-2. So Schweitzer still way ahead. Trying to punch out Tate here for the first out of this top of the first inning. The 4th pickoff attempt of Head. 4th time it's unsuccessful. But you do have to be careful, as Head has speed and he can steal on you whenever he feels fit to do so. And there he goes. Tate is struck out looking, but Head swipes second base. So Rob Tate strikes out on a slider from Schweitzer, but Dylan Head, knowing the count, knowing that Tate was primed for an off-speed pitch there, took off and swiped second base on the catcher, Jack Neal.
Number 5, Jason Ballard.
Jason Ballard stepping to the dish now for the Vikings. Ballard went 3 for 4 with 2 runs scored and 3 RBIs yesterday. He counted for 5 of the 9 Vikings runs. He swings through a fastball from Schweitzer, 0-1. Ballard has the Vikings' home run lead with 2, and then 4 others have 1. So he can extend his lead to 2 right here. As that ball gets away from Neal, they're saying that Ballard did go around, so the count is 0-2 on Ballard. But he has a runner 90 feet away, so if he can put a ball in play, hopefully that will be enough to score Head from third, giving the Vikings an early lead. But Schweitzer, again, up in the count, 0-2. He's settled down after that leadoff walk to Head. Came back, struck out Rob Tate on 4 pitches. Has Ballard 0-2 with 2 pitches, and he strikes out Ballard on 3 pitches. So the Vikings have still yet to put a ball in play against Jake Schweitzer.
Now batting the
designated hitter Preston Lund, stepping to the dish.
Lund.
Lund was the catcher yesterday, went 0 for 1 before being hit by a pitch and then had to be subbed out of the game. It was in his throwing arm, so that's probably the reason why he's not catching today. As he swings and misses at a fastball from Schweitzer, 0-1. Schweitzer using that hard fastball to get ahead on a lot of these Vikings batters. The Vikings seem to be behind it. 0-1 to Lund is a slider off the plate, ball and 1. So count is even. 1-1 to the DH Lund. He sends one right back up the middle. A diving stop by the second baseman Hagedorn, but that's going to be an infield single for the DH Preston Lund, and the Vikings take an early lead, 1-0 over the Trinity Shamrocks. A good piece of hitting there by Lund. Just sent that fastball bouncing right back up the middle.
Second baseman, number 9, Corey Mullins.
A good dive by Hagedorn to keep the ball in the infield, but he could not corral it enough to get Lund at first base. Pick off, no dice. That's going to send the second baseman Corey Mullins to the plate. He went 1 for 2 with a triple and 2 hit by pitches yesterday. Came around to score twice. He pops the first pitch he sees from Schweitzer down the first base line, and the first baseman Beckman is there to make the play. So a leadoff walk to Dylan Head comes around to score for the Vikings, and they take an early 1-0 lead over the Trinity Shamrocks. At the end of the top of the first, it's the Vikings 1 and the Shamrocks 0. On the mound for the Vikings, making his first start of this young Viking season, is going to be the big righty Tommy Haggerty. Haggerty is battling back from an injury. This is only his second appearance of the season. His first was a relief appearance against the Vikings' 13-0 win against Shepherd. He's going to face the second baseman, Brooks Hagedorn, to lead off this game against Trinity. He takes a fastball for strike one. Haggerty has been one of the best Vikings pitchers in years past. Haggerty, a third-year varsity player. 0-1 to Hagedorn is outside, 1-1. Hagedorn batting .389 on the year. So a solid leadoff man for the Shamrocks. 1-1 from Haggerty. Long rock back. Fastball, outside corner, strike two. So Tommy Haggerty ahead in the count 1-2 to the Shamrocks' leadoff man, Brooks Hagedorn. Haggerty rocks back. Leaves a slider upstairs, 2-2. Two from Haggerty. Fastball off the plate, bringing the count to a full 3-2. So both leadoff men here in the bottom and top of the first inning have gone to a full count. Dylan Head, the leadoff man for the Vikings, ended up working a walk and then coming around to score. Tommy Haggerty trying to not do that to the Shamrocks leadoff man, Hagedorn. Full count pitch is out on the outside corner, and Hagedorn strikes out looking. A good frame by the catcher, Josh Moore, pulled that one back in over the outside corner. A good start to the game for Tommy Haggerty. Haggerty has that two-seam action on his fastball, so it's going to move into righties and away from lefties. Shortstop Colin Sanders bounces a ball right back up the middle, and that's the first Shamrocks hit of this game. So a bouncing ball past the outstretched arm of Tommy Haggerty has the Shamrocks with a runner on first base and one out.
Number 13, Kyle Campbell.
Center fielder Kyle Campbell stepping to the dish now. Campbell's batting .487 with a home run on the year. He watches a slider for strike one from Haggerty. That was a nice tight slider from Haggerty. Able to keep it in the zone, but then he can also use it as a strikeout pitch as he picks off Sander from first base. Sander slides in safely. One to Campbell. Outside corner, strike two. That outside corner is being peppered by Haggerty early in this game. Home plate umpire seems to be giving maybe just a little bit on the outside corner. 0-2 from Haggerty. Slider, and there's the strikeout slider. Haggerty's second strikeout of the inning is Kyle Campbell, the center fielder. And that's going to send Dane Morrow, the third baseman, to the dish with a runner on first and two outs. Haggerty trying to strand a single from the shortstop, Sander. Demir Heidelberg can't come up with that pickoff attempt, but it rolls not far enough away for Sanders to get hit, to get to second. This third baseman, Dane Morrow, is a Tennessee commit, so Haggerty will have to pitch him carefully. As that one gets away from Moore, that fastball was in the dirt, so Sander is going to move up 90 feet to second base, and the Shamrocks have a runner in scoring position now with one out. Morrow can split the gap right here, maybe even just send one into the outfield. Sander could score from second, evening this game at 1. As there's a fastball above the zone, ball 2. Catcher Josh Moore tried to bring that one in, but home plate umpire said it was too high. Haggerty behind the count 2-0. That one's in the dirt yet again, ball 3. Haggerty does have a base open, but with 2 outs, the force play doesn't really matter, as you can just go to first base. You would want to set up the double play here, but the 3-0 to Morrow is high, and the Shamrocks are going to have runners on the corners as that one got away from Moore. So a bit of an errant at bat for Haggerty. Has Evan Beckman to the dish with runners on the corners and 2 outs. Sanders singled to center field and then moved up to second on a wild pitch and then move up to third on that last wild pitch. That's going to send Evan Beckman to the dish with runners on the corners and 2 outs. That fastball is on the inside corner for ball 1. Just in off the inside corner. Haggerty picks off. Morrow slides in safe at first. From Haggerty. Fastball on the inner third for strike 1. Count is even now, 1-1. On the 5th batter of this Shamrocks bottom of the 1st inning. Pickoff attempt comes up empty again. So, count is even, 1-1 on the first baseman, Beckman. And that ball's going to get away, and that's how the Shamrocks will score their first run. A throwing error from the pitcher, Tommy Haggerty. And Dane Morrow is going to be in there safely at third base. So, a run comes in on the error by Tommy Haggerty, and this game is all tied up 1-1. That's going to send pitching coach Vince Davis out of the dugout now. Haggerty got off to a strong start with 2 strikeouts of the first 3 Shamrocks batters, but now he's had a little bit of control issues, and especially controlling throws over to first base. That one just got away from Heidelberg at first, allowing Trinity to score their first run and evening this game at 1. Davis was almost walking off the mound, had a few more words for Haggerty, but now he will depart. We'll get back to baseball. It's still 1-1 on the first baseman, Beckman, but he now has a runner on third base and a chance to take the lead here for the Shamrocks. 1-1 pitch. Inside corner for strike 2. Haggerty ahead in the count now, 1-2. Seeing if he can keep this Shamrocks lead to only 1, and that one hits Beckman. So Haggerty almost had Beckman there, had him with 2 strikes on him, but ends up hitting him with a fastball that just grazed his midsection.
Left fielder, number 21, Ethan Dillon.
Ethan Dillon will bat now for the Trinity Shamrocks. The left fielder's batting .500 through 8 at-bats. He watches a fastball upstairs, ball 1. Dillon has a chance to give the Shamrocks the lead by at least 1. That pickoff attempt was right on the money to Heidelberg. And that is a balk on Tommy Haggerty, and that's how the Shamrocks will get their second run of this bottom of the first inning. So Haggerty did not come fully set, and Ethan Dillon now has a runner on second base and a chance to give Trinity a 3-1 lead, or potentially a 4-1 lead if he really gets into one. He watches ball 2 above the zone. Haggerty throwing a lot of extra pitches in this first inning. He was close to getting out of it many times. That 2-0 pitch above the zone again. That one might have been a little bit outside as well. But Dillon way ahead in the count, 3-0. At 3-0 from Haggerty on the outside corner for strike 1. That one was off the plate, but a good frame by the catcher. Josh Moore brought that one back in, as there's a swing and a miss, and the count is full. So Haggerty battles back from a 3-0 hole, and the count is now full on the left fielder, Ethan Dillon. No, we will not do the full count pitch, as time was called. So now we will do the full count pitch. Haggerty comes set. 3-2. Fastball above the zone, ball 4. So all 4 of those balls to Ethan Dillon were above the zone. And the Shamrocks have runners on first and second for Jake Schweitzer. Schweitzer has a chance to help himself right here, as the starting pitcher can give Trinity an even bigger lead than the one that they currently have. That pitch from Haggerty got away from him. Outside, ball 1. From Haggerty. In there for strike 1. That one was on the inside corner, something that we've seen Haggerty go to a few times, but mainly it's been the glove side outside corner. That 1-1, too tall yet again, 2-1. Haggerty comes set. 2-1 to Schweitzer. That curveball got away from him. 3-1. So the Shamrocks threatening to load the bases here in the bottom of the first inning after they've already scored 2, taking a 2-1 lead over the Vikings. (3-1) to Schweitzer. Swing and a miss, bringing the count to a full 3-2. Schweitzer trying to knock in Beckman from second, potentially Dillon from first. Full count pitch, runners in motion, and that fastball's off the plate, ball 4. So the third walk in 4 batters for the Trinity Shamrocks has the bases loaded and 2 outs for the catcher, Jack Neal.
The catcher, number 19, Jack Neal.
After getting 2 of the first 3 batters to strike out, Haggerty has since walked 3 and hit 1 batter, loading these bases. That first pitch to Neal is upstairs, ball 1. So control has definitely been an issue for the big righty, Tommy Haggerty. But Vikings only down 1, trying to keep it that way. As there's a fastball, outside corner. Neal whiffs at it, 1-1. Count is even, 1-1 to the catcher. Fastball upstairs yet again. So when Haggerty does miss with that fastball, it's upstairs in the zone, upstairs out of the zone. Two 1 to Neal. There's a pitch that Neal offers at, comes up empty with, evening the count 2-2. So the count is 2-2. Trinity has scored 2. 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Fastball, outside corner, gets Neal looking. So after 8 batters, the Trinity Shamrocks only get 1 hit, but score 2 as 3 walks and a hit by pitch threaten the Vikings lead and end up taking it. But at the end of 1, it's the Shamrocks 2 and the Vikings 1. Leading things off in the Vikings half of the second inning is going to be the sophomore first baseman, Demir Heidelberg. Heidelberg got off to a hot start for this Vikings team early in the year as he sends that first pitch into right field for a single. So Heidelberg sends the first pitch he sees from Jake Schweitzer into right field for a leadoff single.
Now batting, the catcher, number 6, Joshua Moore.
Josh Moore stepping in for the Vikings. Moore went 2 for 2 with an RBI and a walk in yesterday's game against St. Xavier. That first pitch from Schweitzer in the dirt. Good block by Neal, keeping that one in front of him. Moore has 13 RBIs on the year, tied for first in this Vikings team. He watches ball 2 off the plate. Moore's batting over 500 on the year. So great production from this Vikings bottom of the lineup. He watches strike 1. Home plate umpire seems to be giving at least a little bit on the outside corner off the plate, but nobody can guarantee perfection, especially not at the high school level. That 2-1 slider from Schweitzer in the dirt, ball 3. So a leadoff single from Heidelberg and a 3-1 count to Josh Moore. Vikings could have 2 runners on and nobody out after this pitch from Schweitzer. 3-1, bottom of the zone, strike 2. Moore clearly thought that was ball 4. He was already starting to walk towards first, but the home plate umpires has come on back. So that brings the count to a full 3-2. Schweitzer steps off. If Moore can drive one in the gap, he has speed, but he's not the lead runner, as Demir Heidelberg doesn't have the same speed as him. That full count pitch fouled back. Good battle by the catcher Moore to stay alive. Catching up to that Schweitzer fastball. So the full count pitch to the catcher, Josh Moore. Popped foul out of play. So the full count pitch has been fouled back twice for Moore. So we'll do it for a third time. Full count pitch to Moore. Swing and a miss. Schweitzer wins the battle against Moore, sends Moore down on strikes. That's going to send the third baseman, Nico Bilgi, to the plate.
Now batting by
with
third baseman,
one runner on and
Bilgi.
1 out. Bilgi went 0 for 3, but had 3 great at-bats yesterday. He had 2 RBIs, 2 via the sac fly. 1 was hit to dead center, likely gone here, as that ball is off the plate. This field is smaller than the St. Xavier field that they played at yesterday and the day before that. St. Xavier's field is 400 to center. This field is 385. One 0 to Bilgi. High and out, ball 2. So Bilgi ahead in the count, 2-0 on Schweitzer. Bilgi with a big cut and a tip back into the catcher's mitt. 2-1. Bilgi got a piece of that one, but it was just fouled back right into Neal's glove. Another cut and a miss from Bilgi. Evens the count at 2-2. So count is even, 2-2 on the third baseman, Bilgi. As Bilgi sends that one foul, keeping himself alive. If the Vikings can somehow turn the lineup card over, Dylan Head had a great at-bat against Schweitzer. He worked a walk and then came around to score on Preston Lund's RBI single. Two from Schweitzer. Slider, backdoor, Bilgi knew it. And that is the 4th punch out for the starting pitcher, Jake Schweitzer. He's retired 2 looking and 2 swinging.
Fielder, number 19, Bennett Wright.
Bennett Reich stepping in for the Vikings. This is Reich's first start for the Vikings this year. He's been a pinch hit man primarily, but he's getting the start today in left. As he watches strike 1. That one looked a little bit low from up here, but I'm not behind the plate, so I will not call the game from up here. That one sent on the ground. Sander cannot come up with it, And that is going to be the second Vikings base runner here in this top of the second inning. That one just bounced once and then bounced again right in front of Sander. And he did not come up with it. So that's going to turn the lineup card over for the leadoff man, Dylan Head. Dylan Head, ever dangerous, can give the Vikings the lead in one swing, as the right field line is only 310, similar to the Vikings field dimension back in Flossmoor. That pitch ahead, sent on the ground past Sanders. Demir Heidelberg will be waved home, and he is going to be safe at the plate. That throw from Dylan in left field could not beat Demir Heidelberg to the plate, and the Vikings have tied this game via an RBI single to left field thanks to Dylan Head.
Shortstop, number 2, Robert Tate.
So the Vikings using a bit of small ball, as 3 singles are their only hits, and this game is now tied 2-2. 2-2, excuse me. Tate swings through a Schweitzer fastball, 0-1. Reich has pretty good speed on second, so if Tate can get a ball into the outfield like Head did, and that ball gets away from Neal, and the runners are going to move up 90 feet. So that takes the force out of the question, and the Vikings can take the lead with one swing and potentially even have a 2-run lead. If a single gets into the outfield, Dylan Head will almost certainly score. He's one of the fastest players in the state. Rob Tate has to get there first. That 1-1 pitch inside, ball 2. Tate struck out looking his first at-bat. Two-one to Tate. Chopped towards Sander at third. Morrow at third, and that is going to be the end of this Vikings top of the second inning. But they do get a run thanks to Demir Heidelberg's single and Dylan Head's RBI single. So at the end of the top of the second, it's the Vikings 2 and the Shamrocks 2. Leading off this bottom of the second inning, it's going to be the Shamrocks 9-hitter, Cameron Warfield. He watches strike one on the outside corner from Haggerty. The right fielder's batting .240 on the year. he swings through another Haggerty fastball. Very quickly, behind in the count 0-2 is Warfield. Haggerty trying to punch out Warfield to start this bottom of the second. And he does, via a slider, gets Warfield swinging on 3 pitches. But that's going to turn the lineup card over for the leadoff man, Brooks
Now
Hagedorn.
The second baseman, number 1, Brooks Hagedorn.
Hagedorn struck out looking his first at-bat, but he did work the count. That first pitch from Haggerty off the plate, ball 1. Haggerty winds the 1-0. Grounded to Tate at short. He's up with it and makes a very nice play on the speedy Hagedorn. That ball bounded very high, so Tate had to move quickly to fire across his body to get Hagedorn at first, but he does, and that's the second out of the top of the bottom of the second inning. Colin Sander stepping in for the Shamrocks. The shortstop singled to center field and later scored on an errant pickoff attempt throw to first base. That first pitch in off the plate, ball 1. Haggerty trying to go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the second. One-0 to Sander. Skied foul, 1-1. So count is even, 1-1 on the Shamrocks 2-hitter, Colin Sander. That pitch off the inside corner, ball 2. Two-one from Haggerty. Inside yet again, ball 3. Something that I noticed about the home plate umpire is that whatever side he sets up on, he seems to give a little bit more off the plate to whatever side he's not on. So if he's inside on a righty, he'll give outside to a righty, as there's strike 2. As that one, as you see, was on the outside corner to a left-handed hitter, and the umpire setting up on the inside corner. So that one was off the plate, but home plate umpire thought that it caught it, bringing the count to a full 3-2. That one's chopped towards Mulling at second. Good short hop play by Mulling, and that is going to be a 1-2-3 inning for the big righty Tommy Haggerty. A good bounce back inning after that 8-batter first. Haggerty retires the Shamrocks in 3 batters. So at the end of the second, it's all knotted up, 2-2. Leading off this Vikings half of the top of the third is going to be the right fielder, Jason Ballard. The Vikings' three-hole hitter struck out his first time up on 3 pitches. So Ballard trying to right the ship, as that's about the worst at-bat you could have, striking out on 3 pitches. And he will not strike out on 3 pitches this time, as that slider was off the plate for ball 1. So he will at least see 4 pitches if he wants to strike out, which I don't think he wants to. He skies one behind home plate and out of play. That one clangs off the bleachers. Thankfully, everybody's okay. That evens the count at 1-1. So, count is even, 1-1 to the 3-hole hitter, Jason Ballard. That slider's off the plate yet again, ball 2. Ballard offered at it, but then was able to hold his swing, as you saw the break. 2 on pitch from Schweitzer. Ballard chops it foul, 2-2. So Schweitzer looking to retire Ballard on strikes, as he did in the first. 2-2 pitch. Slider got Ballard looking. So the second strikeout of Jason Ballard's day is the 5th for Jake Schweitzer on the bump.
The designated hitter, number 10, Preston Lund.
Preston Lund singled his first time up. The second baseman Hagedorn knocked it down, but was not able to throw out Preston Lund at first base. Lund swings through a fastball, 0-1. That single from Lund in the first started the scoring for the Vikings, as that scored Dylan Head from third. Fastball's in the dirt, ball 1. Fastball again in the dirt, 2-1. So 2 of pretty much identical pitches from Jake Schweitzer. Count is 2-1 on the DH Lund. That one is off the plate, and Lund did not swing on the appeal to first base. So count is 3-1. And that's on the inside corner for strike 2. Lund thought that that one was in off the plate, but the home plate umpire disagreed, bringing the count to a full 3-2. Full count pitch from Schweitzer. Lund sends it in the left center field gap. That ball's going to get down, and that's going to be extra bases. That one short hops the fence, and Preston Lund is going to be waved towards third. He's going to have to hustle, and the relay throw is going to be not in time, and it gets away from everybody, and Preston Lund has his second triple of the year. A triple to left center field has the Vikings with a runner on third and 1 out for the second baseman, Corey Mulling.
Now batting the second baseman, number 9, Corey Mulling.
That ball just hung up there forever. I thought that one was not going to get as far as it did, but it short hopped the fence, giving Lund enough time to scamper to third. Mulling squares bunt, pulls back. Lund was charging towards the plate. Jack Neal did not throw it, as Mulling offered at that pitch, so it's going to be 0-1. So he's going to talk things over with third base coach and head coach John McCarthy. Big spot here for the Vikings. They can take the lead. If Mulling even sends a fly ball into the outfield, Lund can tag and score. Oh, 1 to Mulling. In the dirt, good block by Neal. That one was spiked but it went right into the chest protector of the catcher, Jack Neal. That evens the count at 1-1. Mulling looking to give the Vikings a lead. That fastball's in the dirt yet again. Ball 2. So Neal working behind the dish, working to keep Schweitzer working with a tie ball game as opposed to working with a deficit. 2-1 to Mulling. Fouled off himself in the box. Foul ball. After that foul ball, count is 2-2. Mulling just looking to put a ball in play. Two from Schweitzer. Chopped down the third baseline, foul. So we'll do the 2-2 one more time. Schweitzer comes set. 2-2. Mulling chops one. Lund will score on Corey Mulling's RBI groundout. So the Vikings take a 3-2 lead over the Shamrocks. Preston Lund tripled the left center, and then Corey Mulling has now driven him in via a groundout to the third baseman Morrow. Demir Heidelberg, the batter, singled to right field his first time up. So you can see the first baseman Beckman playing in that hole as there's a slider for the first pitch. 0-1. He's not playing too far off the bag where he can't go and cover first base, but he's playing in the hole as that slider's off the plate yet again. 1-1. 1-1 to Heidelberg. Slider in the dirt yet again. Ball 2. Gotta say, Jack Neal's doing a phenomenal job behind the dish. He's just blocking everything that Schweitzer throws in the dirt. 2-1 to Heidelberg. It's inside. Ball 3. Heidelberg had to duck out of the way of that one. But he's got a 3-1 count on him, trying to extend the inning to Josh Moore, who waits on deck. 3-1 is outside. Ball 4. And it will extend the inning to Josh Moore.
Now
the catcher struck out his first time up.
Number 6, Josh Moore.
But he went 2 for 2 yesterday. So hopefully he can continue his little hot streak. That Moore strikeout in the second inning was his first of the season. So now there's only one player on this Vikings lineup who has not struck out, as there's a slider from Schweitzer in there for strike 1. That only player who has not struck out is the leadoff man Head, but he's only played in 4 games so far. So he's not had as many at-bats to strike out, as there's another slider from Schweitzer for strike 2. So 2 sliders from Schweitzer have buckled Josh Moore twice, have him 0-2. 0-2 to Moore. Another slider off the plate this time. Ball 1. Another great block by Jack Neal. One, 2 to Moore. Fastball hit in the air to right center field. That will be caught by the right fielder, Cameron Warfield. But the Vikings do get one thanks to a triple from Preston Lund and an RBI groundout by Corey Mulling. So through 2.5, it's the Vikings 3 and the Shamrocks 2. Leading off this Trinity bottom of the third inning is going to be the three-hole hitter, Kyle Campbell. He struck out in his first time up in the first inning. He chops one towards Bilgi at third, and that's going to get over his head. That ball bounced once, and Campbell's going to try for second, and he will be in there with a leadoff double. So a ground ball that hit maybe 10 feet up the third base line ends up being a double for Kyle Campbell. That ball just bounced off the turf here and flew over Bilgi's head at third base, and has Kyle Campbell representing the tying run on second base. Dane Morrow, the third baseman, walked and scored in the first inning against Haggerty. He sends one towards Mulling at second base. Hard hit, but Mulling was positioned perfectly for that. That sends Campbell to third and Morrow back to the dugout. But now the tying run for Evan Beckman is only 90 feet away.
Evan Beckman.
Beckman was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. It was a fastball that got inside. That slider's in there for strike one. Beckman trying to even things up here in the bottom of the third. That curveball from Haggerty on the outside corner for strike two. A nice backdoor breaking ball from Haggerty. This has set up Beckman for a fastball at the top of the zone after two breaking balls. See what Haggerty goes for. Another breaking ball. Upstairs, however, ball one. Haggerty comes set. 1-2 to Beckman. There was the fastball. Far too high, however. It evens the count at 2-2. 2-2 to Beckman. Hit on the ground. That's going to score a run for the Shamrocks as Corey Mulling makes the second play of this bottom of the third inning. And an RBI ground out for both teams has given them both their third runs here in the third inning.
21, Ethan Dillon.
So 2 ground outs have scored a run for both teams here in this third inning as Ethan Dillon steps in. He takes a ball low. He walked his first at-bat. That pitch from Haggerty's in there for strike one. Haggerty comes set. 1-1 to Dillon. On breaking ball, inside corner, ball 2. That one was a little in and a little low, but if it had been just a little bit more over the plate, it probably would have been strike 2, as there is strike 2. Josh Moore wanted that fastball on the outside corner, but Haggerty went in with it, evening the count at 2-2. So Haggerty trying to get out of this third inning with the game tied. 2-2 to Dillon. Slider, got him looking. Haggerty's 5th strikeout of the day is Ethan Dillon, his 3rd backward strikeout of the day. Has the Vikings and the Shamrocks tied. After 3 innings, it's 3-all.
for Homewood-Flossmoor.
Have a new pitcher on the mound for the Trinity Shamrocks. It's the righty, Hayden Trier. Excuse me. He will relieve the starter, Jake Schweitzer. He went 3 innings pitched, allowed 5 hits, 3 runs, and he will exit with a no decision as the game is tied. But Trier will face the Vikings' bottom and top of the lineup with Nico Bilgi, Bennett Reich, and Dylan Head here in this top of the 4th inning. Bilgi struck out looking his first time up. That fastball's hit a long way, and that ball is gone. Nico Bilgi's first home run of the Vikings in a Vikings uniform has untied this game 4-3. That first pitch from Hayden Trier was just up in the zone, and Bilgi hammered it to right, excuse me. Bilgi is a lefty, so he used that right field short porch to his advantage, and the Vikings take a 4-3 lead over the Shamrocks.
The left fielder, number 19, Bennett Reich.
Always like to see that for Bilgi. Bilgi got really unlucky yesterday, was 0 for 3, but had 3 very hard hit balls as he finally gets under that one just enough to send that one out of here. As Bennett Reich steps in, and he grounds one past the dive of Dane Morrow, and Bennett Reich is going to be held at first base. So back-to-back hits on back-to-back pitches have the Vikings in business here in the top of the 4th.
Now batting, the center fielder, number 1, Dylan Head.
And that's going to turn the lineup card over for the leadoff man, Dylan Head. Head walked and singled in his 2 times to the plate. He takes strike 1 from Trier. That's the first pitch that the Vikings have not swung at or hit into play against Trier. So the Vikings have scored 1 run in every inning. Head trying to give them more than just 1. There's ball 1 inside, evening the count, 1-1. One and 1 to Head. High and outside, 2-1. That seems to be the theme for Dylan Head in pretty much all of his at-bats, is throw him outside, but Head is a fantastic hitter, and he'll just go with that pitch and spray it down the left field line. 2-1 to Head. Inside, 2-2. So we saw Head in this exact spot to lead off the game. He had a 2-2 count on the starting pitcher, Jake Schweitzer, but then he worked a full count walk and ended up stealing second and came around to score, as that one's hit on the ground to Sander at short, to Hagerdorn at second base, and no chance to get the speedy Dylan Head at first, but it's going to go as a fielder's choice ground out, as Bennett Reich is retired at second base. But Rob Tate is going to step to the dish with a runner on first and only 1 out. Tate has struck out and grounded out on the day. Trier does come to a long set. There it is, as Tate calls time. Trier also flicks his arms out as he's coming set, so I wonder if Dylan Head is going to try and potentially time him up, seeing if he can steal second. And there he goes, and he will be safe at second base. So Dylan Head's 4th stolen base of the year has the Vikings with a runner on second base and 1 out. That pitch to Tate was a strike. So he's behind in the count 0-1. I did predict that stolen base. So again, folks, my psychic powers are developing. As Tate takes strike 2 on the outside corner. That one looked to be even more outside than other pitches that home plate umpires called, but regardless, it is strike 2. Tate behind in the count 0-2. Trier spins. Nobody's home to field the throw. Hagedorn is already going back to his natural position. Oh, 2 to Tate. Head takes off. That fastball's outside, and Head will take third easily. No throw from Neal, and Dylan Head now has 3 stolen bases on the day. So he is 5 for 5 in stolen base opportunities this year. And now Rob Tate will have a 1-2 count on him because that ball was off the plate. And the Shamrocks are going to go infield in right here, potentially trying to cut down the speedy Head at the plate if Tate can put a ball in play. 1-2 from Trier. It's inside, almost hits Tate. Tate had to spin awkwardly out of the way of that. He dropped to a knee, but that evens the count at 2-2. Trier comes set. 2-2 to Tate. Off the plate yet again. Full count 3-2. Tate trying to give Jason Ballard, the 3-hitter, an at-bat with 2 runners on base. If he can work a full count walk right here. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch to Tate. Hit on the ground into right field. A great piece of hitting by Rob Tate nets the Vikings their 5th run of the game. And that is going to send a coach out of the dugout for the Shamrocks, as 3 out of 4 batters have gotten hits off of Trier. And this Vikings hard the lineup is coming up. Ballard struck out twice. However, he is dangerous, and that's going to be it for Trier. So a new pitcher will have to face Jason Ballard and Preston Lund at the bare minimum. Ballard struck out twice, but Lund is 2 for 2 with a single and a triple on the day. So as this new pitcher warms up, we'll step out and be back with more Vikings baseball. The new pitcher on the mound for the Shamrocks is the righty Hayden Rader. So he replaces Hayden Trier. And he will have to face Jason Ballard. The three-hole hitter for the Vikings has struck out twice today. He's hoping to break that skid. See if he can potentially split a gap right here. That first pitch is off the plate inside, ball one. Tate does have pretty good speed on first base. Not as much speed as Head, but he will take a few bases. That fastball, outside corner, strike one. Right center field is wide open for Ballard, so if he can go that way with an outside fastball, as there's a pickoff attempt from Rader, comes up empty. But if Ballard can send one into that right center field gap, he and Rob Tate will be running for days. Another pickoff attempt. That ball bounced out of first baseman Beckman's glove, but only dribbled a few feet away. So the Vikings have scored 2 here in this top of the 4th inning. Jason Ballard trying to add to that as he takes ball 2 up and in. Nico Bilgi homered to right field on the first pitch of this top of the 4th inning. And then Dylan Head came around to score thanks to 2 stolen bases and then a Rob Tate RBI single to right field. Ballard taps that one foul, 2-2. Ballard trying to avoid his 3rd strikeout of the day. Something that no Vikings hitter has done is strike out more than 2 times in a game. Something that is honestly pretty impressive when you think about it. Not striking out 3 times in a game. You see hitters in the big leagues do that all the time, but they're getting paid millions. As there's ball 3 in the dirt. So Ballard trying to give Preston Lund an at-bat with 2 runners on. Lund is 2 for 2 on the day with a single and a triple. He came around to score once on that triple. As Tate takes off and Ballard smacks one foul. That ball was hit a million miles an hour, but foul. Tate took off for second on that. So the full count pitch to Ballard. Rader comes set. Tate takes off yet again, and that's ball 4. So Preston Lund will bat with 2 runners on and 1 out.
Now batting, the designated hitter, number 10, Preston Lund.
Preston Lund singled in the first, scoring Dylan Head, and then tripled in the 3rd. He came around to score on the very next batter via a Corey Mulling RBI groundout. He watches a breaking ball above the zone, ball 1. Lund trying to go 3 for 3 on the day. He swings through a breaking ball from Rader, 1-1. So count is even, 1-1. Lund tips it back, 1-2. Center fielder Campbell's playing a little bit to the left center side of second base on Lund, who tripled out to left center field his last time up. Rader steps off. 1-2 to Lund. In the dirt. That ball gets away from the catcher, Neal, and both runners are going to move up 90 feet. Some great heads-up base running by Rob Tate. Has the Vikings with 2 runners in scoring position and only 1 out. That's big, as that takes a double play out of the question for the Shamrocks. So now Preston Lund with an opportunity to give the Vikings a 6 or potentially 7-3 lead. As he waves and misses out a slider for the second out of this Vikings top of the 4th inning. Corey Mulling is 0 for 2 on the day, but he scored Preston Lund after his triple to the left center field gap. Let's see if he can replicate that right here. He sends one down the left field line, and that's going to be a 2 RBI extra base hit for Corey Mulling. The Vikings take a 7-3 lead on Corey Mulling's 2 RBI double. A 4-run top of the 4th inning has the Vikings up 4 on the Shamrocks.
Now batting the first baseman, number 31, Demir Heidelberg.
Demir Heidelberg stepping to the dish now. The first baseman has singled and walked on the day. Raider comes set. Pitch to Heidelberg. Strike on the swing, I believe. Heidelberg trying to drive in Mulling from second. And that one's inside, nearly hits him. Heidelberg had to jump out of the way of that one. Count is even. 1-1 on Heidelberg. As that fastball is on the outside corner for strike 2. If Heidelberg can get there, Josh Moore's on deck. The 1-2 to Heidelberg. Sent on the ground to Sanders. Sanders up with it and throws out Heidelberg. But a 4-run top of the 4th inning has the Vikings up 7-3 over the Trinity Shamrocks. The Shamrocks will bat here in the bottom of the 4th against a new pitcher for the Vikings, Nico Bilgi. So we'll step out and be right back with more Vikings baseball.
For the Rocks, leading off
New pitcher for the Vikings
hitter,
is
number 8,
the former
Jake
third baseman
Schweitzer.
Nico Bilgi. Bilgi relieves Tommy Haggerty. Haggerty went 3 innings, allowed 2 hits and 3 runs. But taking Bilgi's place at third will be Jacob Gunn. Those are the only changes in the Vikings lineup. As Bilgi throws a first pitch foul ball to the DH Jake Schweitzer. Schweitzer walked his first time up against the starter Haggerty. 0-1 from Bilgi is a breaking ball in there for strike 2. Good breaking ball there by Bilgi. Has him way ahead in the count, 0-2. Ball's in the dirt, 1-2. Bilgi will face the 7, 8, 9 batters of the Shamrocks lineup. That 1-2 is sent into right field, and Ballard will let it fall in front of him. So a 2-strike single for Jake Schweitzer. That's going to send Jack Niels to the dish with a runner on first and 1 out, and nobody out.
Jack Neal.
Neal struck out looking to end the first inning, his first time up. He tips a fastball from Bilgi back into the mitt of Josh Moore. Bilgi comes set. 0-1 to Neal. He's in the dirt. Good block by Moore to keep that one in front of him. 1-1. Pickoff attempt. Schweitzer back in there safely at first. One to Neal. Breaking ball in there for strike 2. And breaking ball has 12-6 action from Bilgi. That was on the inside corner to Neal. Neal did not offer at it, as that one was a well-located one at the bottom of the zone. Count was 1-2 on Neal. That breaking ball's in the dirt. 2-2. Neal trying to avoid the second strikeout of the day. Count is even 2-2. Bilgi picks off. Schweitzer in there safe at first. Two from Bilgi. Neal barely got a piece of that one, fouling it straight back, keeping the count at 2-2. Bilgi trying to win the battle against Neal. 2-2. Breaking ball just barely off the plate, bringing the count to a full 3-2. That one looked to be good from up here, but a bad frame by Josh Moore. Probably pulled that one away from the plate, bringing the count to a full 3-2. That fastball's skied behind the plate. Josh Moore has room, and he will not make the play. That ball was just up there in the wind for so long that it was blowing every which way. And Neal is still alive, granted with a full count on him. So we'll do the full count pitch one more time. Bilgi comes set. Pickoff attempt. Ooh, Jake Schweitzer was scrambling to get back to the bag, but he is in there safely. A good move by Bilgi. Had Schweitzer slipping. Full count pitch to Neal. Fastball. Fouled back one more time. A good battle here by the catcher, Jack Neal. So the full count pitch for the 4th time, I believe. Fastball, fouled off. Again, we will do the full count pitch. A great at-bat here from the catcher, Jack Neal. Full count pitch from Bilgi. Schweitzer takes off, and there's ball 4. So Jack Neal wins the battle against Bilgi. And the Shamrocks have their first 2 runners on in this bottom of the 4th inning.
Number 20, Caleb Ricks. And now
Caleb Ricks is the courtesy runner for the catcher, Jack Neal.
Warfield.
Neal, being the catcher, is entitled to a courtesy runner. Get him off his feet, let him rest a bit, as catcher is one of the most demanding positions on the field. Square's bunt is Warfield, but he fouls that one back. 0-1. Shamrocks are trying to move both runners over, have 2 runners in the scoring position with only 1 out for their top of the lineup. That one was bunted foul, straight back. So the count is 0-1 on Warfield. The right fielder struck out his first time up. Bilgi spins. Does not throw towards second. A 1 to Warfield. Up and in. Evening the count at 1-1. Bilgi comes set. The 1-1. Warfield squares again, pulls back. Ball 2. Heidelberg was crashing, so Bilgi likely would have gotten the bunt if it was down the third base line. Heidelberg would have gotten it if it was down the first base line, and Mulling covering first base. 2-1 from Bilgi is lined right into the glove of Jacob Gunn, and he fires across his body, and it just barely gets back, and Neal just barely gets back to first, but a fine diving play by the defensive replacement Jacob Gunn. That's his first play of the game, and it keeps the Shamrocks off the board here in the bottom of the 4th inning. But it sends the top of the lineup in Brooks Hagedorn to the dish. That one just hit Jacob Gunn square in the palm, but he held on to it as Hagedorn skies one to left. Reich under it, and he will take it. So 2 pitches, 2 outs for Nico Bilgi, and he's threatening to strand both Shamrocks runners.
Now batting the shortstop, number 5, Colin Sander.
Colin Sander single to center and grounded to second his 2 times to the dish, so he's been working mainly up the middle. Pitch from Bilgi's off the plate, ball 1. Bilgi trying to keep this Vikings lead at 4. 1-0 to Sander. Good pitch from Bilgi on the outer third, evening the count at 1-1. 1-1. It's upstairs. Ball 2. Sander batting .343 on the year. So if he can put a ball in play into the outfield, that'll score a run as he fouls that one back. It evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Two pitch from Bilgi. Curveball hit into right field. Ballard is up with it, and the play at the plate is going to not be in time, as Jake Schweitzer scores from second base on an RBI single from Colin Sander.
Now batting, the center fielder, number 13, Kyle Campbell.
Kyle Campbell, the center fielder, has struck out and doubled in his 2 times to the dish. He does represent the tying run, so if the 3-hitter can get into one, he can tie this game. Good block by Moore, keeping that one in front of him. So Campbell ahead in the count, 1-0. Trying to score Ricks from second, potentially Sander from first, as that fastball's up and in. 2-0. Billy comes set, 2-0. Lined, off the glove of Rob Tate. Bennett Reich is up with it, and he will throw home, but that throw will be cut off. That ball just glanced off the mitt of Rob Tate, and the Vikings lead is now 2. So that's going to send pitching coach Vince Davis out of the dugout. That's an error on the shortstop Tate. Is that one? He had glove on that one, so that's going to be an unearned run for Bilgi. So Caleb Ricks scored from second there. Colin Sander stands on second, and Kyle Campbell is on first for the cleanup man, Dane Morrow. He's walked and grounded to second in his 2 times to the plate.
Now batting,
He does represent the go-ahead run.
Dane Morrow.
So if he can send one out of here, the Shamrocks will take the lead. As that fastball's off the plate, ball 1. Bilgi comes set, the 1-0. Fastball upstairs, ball 2. Bilgi behind the count, 2-0. Fouled back, 2-1. Dane did hit a hard hit ball right at Corey Mulling, his last time up. And he sends one right back to Corey Mulling at second base. The sliding play by Corey Mulling, a fine play by the second baseman. He had to flip to the shortstop, Rob Tate, to nab Campbell, who was motoring towards second. But at the end of the 4th inning, it's the Vikings 5 and the Shamrocks. It's the Vikings 7 and the Shamrocks 5. Leading things off for the Vikings here in their half of the fifth inning is going to be the catcher, Josh Moore. Moore struck out and singled to right in his last at-bat. As he watches a curveball low from Hayden Rader. Rader winds the 1-0. It's upstairs. Ball 2. That ball looked like it went through Jack Neal's glove. Looked like it was perfectly in the pocket, but then shot out the back. So Moore ahead in the count, 2-0. He squares bunt, pulls back, as that one's on the outside corner for strike 1. Umpire has been giving that call all day to righties. At least he's consistent with it. As ball 3 is upstairs. So the speedy catcher in Josh Moore, if he can get on. Nico Bilgi homered his last time up. 3-1 to Moore. Is lined in the left field, and that's going to be a base hit. That ball was smoked on one hop to the left fielder, Ethan Dillon. And the Vikings will have a runner on for the man who homered in his last at-bat, Nico Bilgi. He saw the first pitch from Hayden Trier, and sent it over the right field fence.
Courtesy runner at first base, number 23, Christopher Webb. And now batting,
Chris Webb is going to be the courtesy runner for Josh Moore.
Or the pitcher, number 8, Nico Bilgi.
Nico Bilgi, the pitcher, acting as a two-way. Call him Shohei Ohtani. As ball 1 is in the dirt, and Chris Webb takes off for second late, and he's going to be thrown out. Indecisive base running erases a Josh Moore single. Webb put the brakes on and then started it again. So if he had committed, he likely would have been at second safely. But that erases a Josh Moore single. And Nico Bilgi has a 1-0 count on him with no runners on now, as he sends one towards center field. Campbell under it and makes the second out of this Vikings top of the fifth inning. So Bilgi has hit 2 balls hard today, one over the fence, one right at center fielder Campbell.
Left fielder, number 19, Bennett Wright.
The last batter in this Vikings lineup, Bennett Reich, has singled to left twice today. He's been a good setup man for the top of the order in Dillon Head. As he watches a breaking ball on the outside corner for strike 1. The outside corner to both righties and lefties has been generous, to say the least, as that one is grounded towards Beckman at first base. He'll handle it himself. And the Vikings go 1-2-3 after a Josh Moore single was erased by a Chris Webb caught stealing. So in the middle of the fifth inning, it's the Vikings 7 and the Shamrocks 5.
Leading off for the Rocks, the first
Still on the mound
number
for the
2,
Vikings
Evan Beckman.
is Nico Bilgi. He will face Evan Beckman, the first baseman. He was hit by pitch and grounded to Corey Malling at second his last time up. He fouls off that first pitch from Bilgi. Bilgi works quickly. So I didn't even get a chance to tell you that it is the 5, 6, 7 in the order as Beckman sends one out to center field. Should be no trouble for Head out there. That one was a can of corn. That one hung up there forever. An easy play for the center fielder, Head.
Now
that's going to be the first out of the bottom of the fifth.
21, Ethan Dillon.
Ethan Dillon has walked and struck out on the day as he swings through a Bilgi fastball. Count is 0-1. That fastball on the outside corner is too far off the outside corner. 1-1. That curveball from Bilgi bends in there for strike 2. 1-2 from Bilgi. Swing and a miss. Dillon swords awkwardly, and that is the second out of this Vikings bottom of the fifth.
Now batting, the designated hitter, number 8, Jake Schweitzer.
The starting pitcher and now DH stepping in for the Shamrocks, Jake Schweitzer. He's walked and singled on the day as he takes a curveball from Bilgi low for ball 1. From Bilgi. In there, and that takes off Josh Moore's glove. That one just tailed in and just stripped Josh Moore of his glove, but it was in the zone for strike 1. 1-1 from Bilgi. Bottom of the zone on a curveball in there for strike 2. Bilgi's really commanding that bottom of the zone with that curveball. It's a very tight, sharp breaking curveball. 1-2 from Bilgi. There's the curveball again, and he strikes out Schweitzer. So 2 strikeouts in the bottom of the 5th inning for Nico Bilgi as the Shamrocks go 1-2-3. So going into the top of the 6th inning, it's the Vikings 7 and the Shamrocks 5. Leading off this top of the 6th inning is going to be the Vikings' top of the lineup in Dillon Head. Head is 1 for 2 on the day with a single and a walk. He will face Hayden Rader on for his 3rd inning of work, and he sends one into the right center field gap, and that ball's hit well. That ball is going to be out of here. Dillon Head's 2nd home run of the year extends this Vikings lead to 8-5. That ball was hit on a rope, and it just kept on carrying. That ball did not get more than maybe 40 to 50 feet off the ground. And it gives the Vikings a 3-run lead here in the top of the 6th.
Now batting the shortstop, number 2.
And that
Robert
is why
Smith.
he is the #1 baseball player in the state of Illinois. For doing things exactly like that. But now, Rob Tate's going to step to the dish, hoping to follow that home run with something as impressive. He singled to right his last time up as he swings through a fastball from Rader. 0-1. Tate taps that one foul. 0-2. So Dylan Head has only played 5 games and has already tied the Vikings' home run lead. He's tied with Jason Ballard with 2 now. 0-2 to Tate. In the dirt, ball 1. Both of his home runs have been line shot rockets into the right center field gap. But the 1-2 to Tate is up and in near Tate's head. He had to duck out of the way of that one. The count is 2-2. To Tate. In the dirt, good take by Tate. Brings the count to a full 3-2. So Tate trying to work a no-out walk. Pitch from Rader. Fouled back one more time. Tate is so good at just getting bat on ball, whether that be fouling it off or just putting it in play. Saw that with his single to right his last time up. He just stuck the bat out and drove it past an infield that was drawn in. As he sends one into center field, Campbell settles under it for the first out of the Vikings' half of the 6th inning. A good at-bat from Rob Tate comes up empty.
Now
But Jason Ballard steps to the dish.
Jason Ballard.
He's struck out twice and walked on the day. Came around to score on a Corey Malling 2 RBI double as he watches strike 1 on the outside corner. Oh, 1 to Ballard. Yanked down the third base line, foul into the Shamrock bullpen. Had somebody warming up. It thankfully missed him. That's number 7, Baxter Tedesco, warming up in the pen. But Hayden Rader, the pitcher on the mound right now, has Jason Ballard and an 0-2 count with 1 out here in the top of the 6th. He sends one right back up the middle, and that's going to be a single for Jason Ballard. He will not be held hitless in this one, as his hit streak is now however many games the Vikings have played. I think this is their 11th game of the season.
Now
Jason Ballard has a hit in every single one of them.
hitter, number 10, Preston Lund.
Preston Lund, he's 2 for 3 on the day with a single and a triple. He struck out his last time up, however. He sends one into left field. Dylan going back on it. Ball still carrying. And that ball's gone! Preston Lund with a home run of his own, and he is now also tied with Ballard and Head for the Vikings' home run lead. That absolute moonshot of a home run gives the Vikings a 10-5 lead here in the top of the 6th. That ball hung up there forever, and it leaves the yard. That wasn't even a wind-assisted home run like Nico Bilges was in the 4th. That ball was hit to left, and the wind is blowing out to right. So he just got all of that one and sent it out over that 368 sign in left center field. Corey Malling takes ball 1 low. He's probably trying to get in on the home run party. Vikings with 3 in the game, 2 in the inning. Raider spikes a fastball. Ball 2. Very good offensive showing today for the Vikings. And that sends a Trinity coach out of the dugout. And that looks like it might be it for Hayden Raider. And it is. So Baxter Tedesco is coming in for the Shamrocks. So as he warms up, we'll step out with more Vikings baseball on the way. So Baxter Tedesco on the bump for the Shamrocks. He is one of 2 defensive changes as Caleb Ricks replaces Cam Warfield in right field. But Malling has a 2-0 count on him. Now has a 2-1 count on him as that ball caught the low and outside corner, according to the home plate umpire. That one, low. Ball 3. 3-1 pitch to Malling. Is a strike on the inside corner. Malling thought that was ball 4, was already jogging down to first base, but he will come back and bat with a full count. So Tedesco has battled back from a 2-0 count that was not his, as Malling taps that one foul. He replaced Hayden Raider with a 2-0 count on Corey Malling, so it's against Baxter Tedesco. Corey Malling really only has a 1-2 count on him, but count is full, 3-2, and gets a swing and a miss from Malling. So that is going to be the second out of this Vikings top of the 6th, as it sends Demir Heidelberg to the plate.
Number 31, Demir Heidelberg.
He's 1 for 2 with a walk on the day. He grounded it short his last time out. First pitch from Tedesco is on the outside corner for a strike. That off-speed pitch just darting out away from Heidelberg. 0-1. There's a fastball in the dirt, even in the count at 1-1. 1-1 pitch is fouled back, bringing the count to 1-2. Tedesco steps off. 1-2 pitch to Heidelberg. Breaking ball in the dirt. Ball 2. Count is even 2-2. Heidelberg sends one down the right field line. That ball is going to be fair. And that is a single for Demir Heidelberg. That ball just dropped in front of the new right fielder, Caleb Ricks. And that extends the inning to the catcher, Josh Moore.
Now batting, the catcher, number 6, Josh Moore.
Moore is 1 for 3 on the day. He singled to left field his last time up. He was then replaced on the bases by Chris Webb as a courtesy runner. Webb was then thrown out trying to steal second. Moore takes a fastball, outside corner, strike 1. So Tedesco up in the count 0-1 on Moore. Moore calls time, steps out, as Tedesco was looking in to get the sign from Neal for a decent amount of time. Too long for Josh Moore, as the 0-1 is outside, 1-1. Pickoff attempt. Heidelberg slides in safe at first base. Heidelberg didn't exactly have the biggest lead, so he could have just fallen over and landed right back on first base. But now he's got a bigger lead. He is rewarded with a pickoff attempt, so maybe he should shorten that lead to even smaller. Tedesco appears to be worried about him. I don't think that he's going to steal. I would be shocked if he does. As Moore sends one in the left field, that's going to be down for a base hit. Heidelberg is going to be waved towards third, and that's going to get by the left fielder Dillon, and Heidelberg is going to be stopped at... No, he's going to be waved home, and the throw from the left fielder is safe. Missed tag by Jack Neal has an RBI double for Josh Moore. The Vikings add on an 11th run, and the lead is now 6. That's going to likely go as a single and then E7 on the left fielder, Ethan Dillon, as he could not come up with it, so Josh Moore is replaced on second base by Chris Webb yet again. Courtesy runners. But Nico Bilgi is 1 for 2 on the day, his lone hit being a home run to right field.
Now running at second base, number 23, Christopher Webb. And now batting the pitcher, number 8, Nico Bilgi.
He lined to center his last time up. The Vikings have scored 4 here, looking for a 5th in this top of the 6th inning. Bilgi takes ball 1 low and inside on a Tedesco breaking ball. Vikings have racked up 15 hits in 6 innings against a very solid Trinity pitching staff. 1-0 to Bilgi. Outside corner. Strike 1. Bilgi can go opposite field. Left center field is wide open. They're shifted towards right field. Bilgi fouled that one back. 1-2.
Counts 1 and 2.
Bilgi trying to extend this inning to Bennett Reich, who waits on deck. Reich is 2 for 3 with 2 singles. Tedesco comes set. 1-2 pitch in the dirt, and that one kicks away from Neal. Chris Webb is going to move up to third, and that's ball 2. And it hit his foot, says a home plate umpire, so Chris Webb is going to have to go back to second base. Nico Bilgi goes to first base, as that extends the inning for Bennett Reich.
Now batting,
That one kicked away from Neal, so I wonder if that had anything to do with the home plate umpire's decision, as I thought that one was just in the dirt. It didn't hit Bilgi. He didn't react like it hit him. but apparently it did, as the Vikings now have runners on first and second, with 2 outs for the 9-hole hitter Bennett Reich. That first pitch to Reich is low, ball 1. Tedesco has to go right at Reich as the ever-dangerous Dylan Head waits on deck. He homered his last time up as Reich takes ball 2 in the dirt. That home run was actually the start of the 6th inning, so the Vikings have sent 9 batters to the dish in the top of the 6th. Reich trying to make that 10, extending that to Head. He's ahead in the count 2-0. Reich calls time as Tedesco was looking long in there for a sign from Jack Neal. Comes set. 2-0 to Reich. It's a breaking ball in there for strike 1. That's something you do not see very often, a 2-0 breaking ball, as Reich was fooled by it. As that curveball was hung, but it was a strike. 2-1 to Reich. Curveball laced into right field. That's going to be a single for Reich, and that's going to score another run for the Vikings, as Ricks can't come up with it in time to throw to home plate to cut down Chris Webb. So an RBI single for Bennett Reich has the Vikings' 12th run of the game. And now it's going to send Dylan Head to the dish with runners on the corners and 2 outs. And now Nico Bilgi is going to be courtesy ran for by CJ Gales. Bilgi, being the pitcher, is also entitled to a courtesy runner. But I would be shocked if Dylan Head sees anything to hit.
Number 27, Christopher Gales.
Shamrocks do have a base open,
Number 1, Dylan Head.
as that's going to send a Trinity coach out of the dugout. But Dylan Head will bat with runners on the corners and 2 outs. He hit a hard line drive home run to right center field his last time up to start this top of the 6th inning. The Vikings have scored 4 runs since then, threatening to add a 6th, 7th, and maybe even 8th if Head can homer again here. Already a 5-run half inning for the Vikings. They've scored in every inning but the top of the 5th. They scored 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, 4 in the 4th, none in the 5th, and now 5 in the 6th. But now Neal giving the infield signs in case Reich takes off for second base. Pitch to Head is outside, ball 1. Head in the count, 1-0. He sends one into the air, not as well hit as his home run. Rick settles under it for the 3rd out of this Vikings top of the 6th inning. But they score 5 and send 10 runners to the plate. Dylan Head and Preston Lund homered, and the Vikings lead is now 7. So in the middle of the 6th, it's the Vikings 12 and the Shamrocks 5. Leading things off in the Trinity half of the 6th inning, it's going to be the catcher, Jack Neal. He's the 8th batter in the Trinity lineup. So Shamrocks will send 8-9-1 to the dish. Is that curveball up by Neal's head? He has to duck out of the way of that one. Bilgi back on the mound for his third inning of work. That fastball's low. Ball 2. 2-0 pitch to Neal. Fouled back, 2-1. That one just jammed Neal. Tried to get his hands in and around on that one. Could not do so in time. That curveball from Bilgi spins off the plate, 3-1. Bilgi trying to avoid a leadoff walk. 3-1 to Neal. Curveball off the plate, ball 4. So a leadoff walk to the catcher, Jack Neal. As
now batting the pitcher, number 7, Baxter Tedesco.
Baxter Tedesco to the dish. This is his first at bat of the day.
First base, number 6, Carson Waddle.
This is Tedesco's first at bat of the day. He watches the fastball above the zone for ball 1. Carson Waddle is the courtesy runner for Neal on first base as Caleb Ricks entered the game in right field. That pickoff attempt by Bilgi was a little bit wide, but Heidelberg was able to corral it. 1-0 to Tedesco. Upstairs yet again. Ball 2. Bilgi behind in the count, 2-0. Trying to avoid 2 straight walks. That one's up and in. Ball 3. So, after a 5-pitch walk to Jack Neal, Bilgi threatening to walk Baxter Tedesco on 4 pitches. He will not, as there's strike 1 to Tedesco. 3-1 count. Waddle is safe at first base on that pickoff. 3-1 count to Tedesco. Fastball inside, ball 4. So that's going to put runners on first and second for the top of the Shamrocks order.
Now batting
for the leadoff man,
baseman,
Brooks Hagedorn.
Number 1, Brooks Hagedorn.
Hagedorn is 0 for 3 on the day. He flied to left his last time up. First pitch from Bilgi's on the inside corner for strike 1. Bilgi comes set the 0-1. Upstairs, evening the count at 1-1. Bilgi has missed with that fastball up in this inning. So if he can just get on top of it, get it more down in the zone. 1-1 to Bilgi. Hagedorn pops it up. Ballard coming in on it, head calling for it, and he will take it himself. So the center fielder calls off everybody and makes the first out of the Shamrocks, bottom of the 6th.
Now batting the shortstop, number 5, Colin Sanders.
Colin Sanders, the shortstop, stepping in. He's 2 for 3 on the day with 2 singles. This last time up, he singled to right, scoring a run. He singles to right yet again. He will not score another run this time, as Ballard was quick to come up with that one, but that's going to load the bases for Kyle Campbell, the center fielder.
Now batting the center fielder, number 13, Kyle Campbell.
Campbell reached on an error by the shortstop Rob Tate his last time up. He's also doubled and struck out on the day. But the double play is in order for the Vikings, as if Bilge can get a ground ball, Vikings can turn 2. There's a good breaking ball by Bilge for strike 1. Oh, 1 from Bilge. Fouled back. Very quickly ahead in the count is Bilge. 0-2. Strikeout here would be big, as the next batter, Dane Morrow, is 0 for 2 on the day with a walk. Oh, 2. Tapped foul. Campbell just barely got a piece of that one off the end of his bat, keeping the count at 0-2. These Trinity players are calling